Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to get started, so as soon as everyone is seated, I'd like you to welcome Rabbi Ann Feibelman is going to be conducting the service today, accompanied by our beautiful cantorial singer, Adina Sharfstein. So let's get started.
Thanks. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome. I am always honored, and I would like to thank the Congregation Ocean Reef Board for having Adina and myself back. We love being with you, and we hope at the end of the evening you love being with us too. So I'm going to invite you to shake the hand of the person next to you, your neighbor, and wish them a Shabbat Shalom, a good Shabbos.
So please join with me. The song is right on the front of your song sheet, number 1. Olam chesed yibaneh, da-da-dai, da-da-dai, da-da-dai-dai. 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 I will build this world from love, da-da-dai, da-da-dai, da-da-dai-dai. And you must build this world from love, da-da-dai, da-da-dai, da-da-dai-dai. And if we build this world from love, da-da-dai, da-da-dai, da-da-dai-dai, then God will build this world from love, da-da-dai, da-da-dai, da-da-dai-dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, 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 da-da-dai, da-da-dai, da-da-dai-dai.
And now we're going to turn to page 2 and kindle the Shabbat lights. I'd like to invite Esther Lerner, Carrico, and Pat Eisenberg up to help us. So this is a pop quiz about kindling the Shabbos lights. Why do you light the candles before saying the brocha? Once you say the brocha, it's Shabbos, and you can't light a light. So that's why we light first and bless later.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
I have to shake your hand. Yasher koach. Yasher koach. Thank you for ushering in Shabbos. So we'll turn to page 146 in our Siddur, 146. And Adina will lead us in the Baruch Hu. If you feel comfortable standing, please do. and will remain standing through the Shema. And we'll turn to page 149 for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
And we'll turn to our song sheets now.
As you may be seated.
Yes, you may be seated. Thanks. It's song number 2. It says, it's in the middle of the page, Miriam's song, Mi Chamocha.
So we are about to embark on the beautiful holiday of Pesach, where Miriam plays a very central figure in the story. Miriam's well was a very central part of the story, and some of us have a cup of water at our Seder table, along with the cup of wine for Elijah. And this is a Debbie Friedman song that she wrote about Miriam. It's called Miriam's Song. We're going to do a little mashup, singing the chorus of Miriam's song with the Mi Chamocha to the same melody. So you may recognize this tune. And the women. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Let's do that again. And the women. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Same melody. Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi Chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilo oseh peleh. Nora tehilo oseh peleh. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya
turn in our prayer books to page 153, the top of the page, for Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu is also in your song sheet. It is song number 3. So you can join me. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu malkeinu v'chayim. Hashkivenu again. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu malkeinu v'chayim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu malkeinu v'chayim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu malkeinu
So we will turn to page 155 for the tefillah. Adina will lead us at the beginning, and then we'll be silent until she brings us out with song. Please rise in spirit or body as you feel comfortable.
Adonai sifatai tivtach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Oh God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Please be seated. In your song sheet, we're going to be singing a song by the Jewish musician Matisyahu. And I don't know if you've heard about Matisyahu in the news lately. His concerts, some of them have been canceled due to protests outside, and the venues have been afraid of violence breaking out, so they've canceled a lot of his concerts and his shows. But he is a very outspoken advocate for Israel, and his most famous song is called One Day. And the words are very timely. We're going to sing his One Day with Oseh Shalom. Now, maybe you didn't know this, but we are a singing congregation, so I'm going to ask you to sing along with me. This has an echo part. So I'm going to lead, and you're going to echo the one day part. So when I say, one day, you're going to sing, one day, one day, one day, together, one day, one day. Got to be faster. One day, one day, one day. Do it again. One day, one day, one day. Together. Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never negativity surrounds. I know someday it'll all turn around because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars and our children will play one day, one day,
One day.
one day, one day, one day, one day. The melody for Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom. Bimromav. Ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, amen. Because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars and our children will play one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day.
That was so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Matisyahu.
I would like to call up Jack Tadelman to take out the Torah for us. Ta'amod Gershon ben Yaakov la'aliyah haTorah. Now, it's been, I think, 2 or 3 years since Jack's bar mitzvah, so he's going to re-invoke.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
So you may rise if you like and touch your talis or your siddur to the Torah as Jack comes by.
Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam, Omen. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam, Omen. Al HaTorah, V'al Ha'avodah, V'al Gemilu Chosadim. Al HaTorah, V'al Ha'avodah, V'al Gemilu Chosadim. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael,
He put on
Am
a little bit of weight.
Yisrael
It
Chai.
put on a little bit of weight this year. Yeah. You may be seated. Thank you. So we're going to do the blessing before the Torah reading. I think it's on page 250, blessing before the Torah reading.
Do I touch the part?
So, yeah. Right.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMborach.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam. Asher b'chalbanu mikol ha'amim, v'nataranu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
It comes back.
Yeah, yeah. Don't go away. Okay. Amen. ויהי ביום השמיני קרא משה לאהרון ולבניו ולזקני ישראל, ויאמר אל אהרון, קח לך עגל בן בקר לחטאת, ועיר לעולה תמימים, והקרב לפני אדוני, ואל בני ישראל תדבר לאמור, קחו שעיר עזים לחטאת, בעגל וכבש בני שנה תמימים לעולה, ושוב העיר לשלמים, לזבוח לפני אדוני ומנחה בלולב השמן, כי היום אדוני נראה עליכם, ויקחו את אשר ציווה משה אל פני אוהל מועד, ויקרבו כל העדה, ויעמדו לפני אדוני, ויאמר משה, זה הדבר אשר ציווה אדוני, תעשו, וירא עליכם כבוד אדוני.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nota b'zchochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten
Torah.
ha'torah.
Yasher Koach.
God bless.
So before you escape, I'd like to bless you for having risen to this honor. Mishe Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech et Gershon ben Yaakov, v'hu yiten lecha briut v'shalom b'guf u'v'nefesh u'v'ruach v'kol tov v'nomach. Amen. So in English, may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rachel, Rebekah, and Leah, bless you, Gershon, the son of Yaakov, with peace in mind, body, and spirit, for having risen today to this honor, to honor the Torah, to honor this community, to bless us with your sacredness. Amen. Yasher Koach. Yeah, Shabbat Shalom. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's good to be with you on Shabbos especially. This week's Torah portion begins with the words, Bayom Hashmini, which means on the 8th day. It is the 8th day after Moses' brother Aaron and Aaron's sons have been designated by God to become the priests of the Israelites. Aaron and his sons have been sequestered in the tent of meeting, the sacred inner sanctum, where they were alone with God for 7 days. On the 8th day, they emerged back into the community, into a world of activity and people. It is a rough re-entry. Aaron's 2 eldest sons are killed in a fire when they tried to burn incense as a sacred offering. Despite this shock and tragic loss, Aaron is commanded by God not to withdraw, but to continue to bless his people and to be a spiritual leader, the head of the Kohanes, the priestly tribe. In many ways, the 7 days that the priests spent in the tent of meeting echo the 7 days of creation, a time of creativity, of peace, and of wonder. But then came day 8. The 8th day symbolizes life on earth after the 7 days of creation. It dawns with the harsh reality of existence on earth. Adam and Eve are evicted from the Garden of Eden. Cain slew his brother Abel. Then the earth was flooded and only Noah and his family survived. Jonah is swallowed by a whale. Job loses everything and falls into the pit of despair. Day 8 is not easy. In many ways, we too are living in day 8. The war in Gaza, hostages held by Hamas day after day, attacks by Hezbollah in the north of Israel, divisive politics in Israel and at home, global anti-Semitism, the war in Ukraine, COVID. It is not easy to find hope or faith. So how do we deal with day 8 with real life? The Torah gives us a clue. This week we are in the book of Leviticus, the third or middle book of the Torah. In this week's Torah portion, it actually contains the middle letter of the entire Torah, which is a Vav. It is found in the middle of the word gachon, meaning belly. So in the middle of the belly of the Torah is a Vav, a letter which means and. Actually, the Vav is also the most common word in the entire Torah. You might think the most common word would be God or commandment or peace, but the most common word is and. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rachel, Rebecca, and Leah. Perhaps what the Torah is inviting us to see is that at the heart, in the center, in the belly of life, is connection. Connections with our inner selves, connections with each other, and connections to God. And our connections to the past, to the future, and most important, to this present moment, our relationship to the world we live in. Vav gives us an opportunity to connect using our hearts, not our heads. What is most meaningful to you? What is most important to you? The letter Vav is shaped like a straight line, like a sacred dash or a cable that connects things. Recently, when I was watching Israeli TV, there was an interview with a liberated hostage, a 21-year-old Israeli woman named Mia Shchem. Her broken arm was in a sling, and she was sitting in a chair telling her story to a TV anchor woman. At the end of the interview, the TV showed a clip of Mia the moment she returned to Israel. Her mother was waiting for her at the Israeli checkpoint. Mia ran into her mother's outstretched arms and clutched her, and the women burrowed their faces into each other. They hugged, they clasped one another, and they cried. I could imagine the umbilical cord from her mother's belly that had once nourished and nurtured the life of her precious daughter, wrapping itself once again protectively and tightly around her adult daughter. That's what Vav is. Vav is deep connection that nourishes and gives life and surrounds us with hope when there is despair. This is what it means not to give up hope, to connect, and to be together in crisis. We get to choose what we connect to our Vav. We choose what is most important to us and attach it to the end of our connection, our Vav. The Torah also assures us that if we have the courage to connect to each other, we are also drawing near to God, to the Holy One of Blessing, and that in drawing near to each other, we will become keenly aware of God's presence. Surely the connection between Mia and her mother is a reflection of the divine presence. My blessing for you, my friends, is that your Vav be attached to what is most important to you, and always to tikva, to hope. I would like to bless you tonight with the priestly blessing that we have used so often in thousands of years. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lechem shalom. May the Holy One gaze quietly into your beautiful face and grant you peace. And let us say, Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Yasha Kawach, Rabbi. On your song sheets, there's a song by Rebecca Mirsky, Kadosh, 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 which means holy, holy, holy. I give you these words so that you can sing with me if you choose to, but also so you really can absorb what the words are saying. It is holy to be young, it is holy to be old, it is holy to be in between. It is holy to hear, it is holy to be heard, it is holy to see and be seen. I am holy, you are holy, we are holy. Sing that line with me again. I am holy, you are holy, we are holy. It is holy to fall down, it is holy to get up, it is holy to cry your tears. It is holy to go slow, it is holy to wait, and it's holy to conquer your fears together. I am holy, you are holy, we are holy. I am holy, you are holy, we are holy. Kadosh, 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 Kadosh. Sing Kadosh with me. Kadosh, 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 Kadosh. It is holy to lift someone up, and it's holy to be lifted. It is holy to be the giver, and it's holy to be the gifted. It is holy to take someone's hand, and it's holy to let it go. And it's holy to tell somebody that you just didn't know. I am holy, you are holy, we are holy. I am holy, you are holy, we are holy. Kadosh, 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 Kadosh. Kadosh, 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 Kadosh.
Thank you. So I'd like to say a prayer for Israel. Let's just take a moment and focus all of our blessings on Eretz Yisrael. Eternal One of the universe, guardian of Israel, be with us in this time of darkness and trouble. Surround the families who have lost their loved ones with your compassion, your chesed. Give strength, koach, to the hostages and all who care about them, at home and abroad. Implant wisdom, bina, among the leadership of Israel, and courage, chozek, to all the soldiers who defend her on the land, in the air, and on the sea. Remember your covenant, your brit, with your people Israel, and grant us peace. your most precious gift. Amen.
Amen.
We'll turn to Hatikva, which is on page 374. 374. You may also have picked up a sheet on the back table. And we'll rise for Hatikva.
Oh Lord, Haleva, Penihima, Nefesh Yehudi, Homiya, Ulfatem Mizrach, Kadima, Hayel Etzion, Sophia.
May be seated. So now we're going to say the Misha Berach, the prayer for healing. We hold in our hearts today Sharon Halperin, Paul Hirschbiel, Katie Sherman, and then I'll go around the room and please call out a name of anyone in need of healing or blessing. We turn to page 253 as we hold in our hearts as well people who are now suffering in the war. Page 253. So we'll now address the Torah, and I'll ask Jack to come and help up here.
Eitz Chaim hi, Lemachazikim ba, Beto
So please rise if you feel comfortable for Aleinu on page 282, and it will continue on to page 284.
עלינו לשבח להודות הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגאי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחת האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו ככם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר בחיי אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Let's turn to page 285 at the top in the English, and we'll read together. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in fellowship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Adonai, our God, how soon we hope to behold the perfection of our world, guided by a sacred covenant drawn from human and divine meeting. So you may be seated. We're going to turn to page 294 now for Kaddish. 294. Is there anyone observing a yahrzeit or in mourning? Would you like to call out a name? Thank you. Thanks, Phyllis. We also observe the yahrzeit tonight of Lucille Cyrus. Anyone who is observing a yahrzeit and would like to rise to say Mourner's Kaddish, we'll say it with you. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba, ve'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach, le'olam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'al v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadal v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei d'kudsha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechimata, da'amiran b'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. May the one who makes harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
So, in anticipation of Pesach coming up and the freeing of the Hebrew slaves in ancient Egypt and the freeing of the hostages in our time in Gaza, we'd like to end tonight's service with Hashanah Haba'ah, which is on your
Back
song
of your song
sheet.
sheet, number
Back
6.
number
Lashana
6.
Haba'ah. We'll do a verse in Hebrew and a verse in English. Ya la la, 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 גיבורים נודדות, ילדים בחופשה, ישחקו טוב חסד בין הבית לבין השדות. תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. Wait and see what a world this can be if we care, if we share, you and me. Soon the day will arrive when we will be together and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without their wondering whether on that day dark new clouds will appear. Oh, תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. Wait and see what a world this can be if we care, if we share, you and me. Ya la la, 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 ya la la. Shabbat shalom.
So before we go, we have an extraordinary evening tonight. It is my honor to welcome ORC member Dennis Bernard to speak with us. Last Thursday, Dennis was one of only 10 national Jewish leaders to have a private meeting at the White House on Israel and anti-Semitism. And this meeting was immediately followed by a visit to Israel, where he was also able to receive private briefings. Dennis has generously offered to share with us a short briefing on what transpired. So I'd like to invite Dennis to join us. There will also be a question and answer at dessert tonight. So if you eat all your vegetables, you can ask questions. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
So I made some notes so I somewhat stay on message. Again, my name is Dennis Bernard. I'm a past co-president of Detroit's Jewish Federation. I've served on multiple Detroit and national Jewish agencies, and really what brought me into a situation to be at a meeting at the White House, I'm currently Jewish Federation of North America's national co-chair of anti-Semitism and security. When I finished my presidency in Detroit, JFNA suggested that I become this co-chair of anti-Semitism and security, and they said, you know, you're going to have 2 or 3 meetings a year. It can be a little virtual. It's no big deal. That was October 1st. October 7th came about, and so my role changed dramatically. In mid-March, Eric Fingerhut, who is the CEO of JFNA and the organizer, he was the single organizer of the huge November Washington rally as CEO of JFNA. Eric and I were talking, and we felt the need to have a meeting with the White House. We had noticed that recently, and again, this goes to my Detroit roots, that the president and his staff had had 2 meetings in Dearborn, the heart of the Arab American community, and he had yet to meet in 3+ years with the organized Jewish community. There hadn't been a meeting with the White House senior staff. So we felt it was important to talk about tone, rhetoric, pandering, politics, the rise of social anti-Semitism, plus that he was talking to the Muslims and the progressives in our country, and he really wasn't having a two-way conversation with the organized Jewish community. We reached out at JFNA to the large national agencies, such as the National Conference of Jewish Agencies, ADL, AIPAC, AJC, and none of them wanted to get on board with us to try and have a meeting with the White House because they were concerned it would use up collateral and they would not take the meeting. So JFNA ventured forward on our own. At that point, Eric, myself, started reaching out to various people to network our way into the White House. And, we have a lot of very important people in this country who have connections one way or another, whether directly with the president or with people that sit in powerful positions in Washington, D.C. So we use those connections, and we were able to secure a meeting, but they gave us a choice. We can meet with senior White House staff, and I'll touch on, it was very senior White House staff, or we can wait and try and have a meeting with the president. And then things started to continue to heat up, the rhetoric coming out of the White House, so we chose to have the meeting with senior White House officials, without the president, with the caveat that the president may join us. We were given 10-day notice. There's a lot of 10s in here. We were given a 10-day notice, and we were then told that we could only bring 10 people. At the time, my bride and I, Hadass, were literally we had just flown to New York to get ready to fly to Israel. And that while we were on the layover waiting those 3 hours, that's when we found out we were going to have the meeting, and I had to change my plans to come back a day early. JFNA let Israel know that I was going to be meeting in the White House, so I lost a day and a half of my trip. We were there for a wedding, for family, to spend time together with our friends there and support. And I was fortunate enough to have private briefings with several people in Israel, a tour of the Gaza envelope, which is the southern part of Israel that was affected. And I encourage everybody, another member of our community, Mark Zalzmer, coincidentally from Detroit, wrote a wonderful piece in the Ocean Reef Press. If you haven't seen it today, he spoke about his recent trip to Israel and the impact of visiting many of these sites had, and there's some difficult pictures, but it's important to see. So I encourage you to go home and read Mark's piece that he had in the Ocean Reef Press. I met with, I got a tour, I met with government officials, I met with the Mossad, who is in charge of the hostage negotiations, which was the most fascinating meeting I think I had outside of me going to the White House, and their position. And they pointed out that, this is just a side note, that Hamas finally figured out Israel's Achilles heel, and that was, we leave no Israeli behind, we leave no Jew behind, we will do anything for our hostages. And that's why the taking of the hostages. They knew that Israel would then follow up and would do anything, and that's why the drip, drip, drip. Okay, so we had 10 days to prepare. The White House gave us a list of do's and don'ts, what we can talk about, and the date was last Thursday, March 28th. And I'll talk about that meeting in a second, but I'll come back to something later. In Israel, we actually reached out to Michael Oren and engaged Michael Oren, who you all heard and speak, to help us set up a prep day before. On Wednesday, we had a prep day before we went for the 10 of us. And here's some of the people that we prepped with. Congressman Steny Hoyer from the Democrats, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik from the Republicans. We had Colonel Elad Goran, who is a retired IDF. We had John Spencer from West Point, who is the single most learned person on urban warfare. And he talked about all the extraordinary steps that the IDF is taking to minimize collateral human damage. Howard Kaur from AIPAC, the CEO of AIPAC. Brigadier General Regev from the IDF, who happened to be in D.C., meeting with the Department of Defense, spent a considerable amount of time with us. Adi Weiner, who I don't know if you've seen, he is the professor at Wharton, who has written extensively on how incorrect the 30, 31, 32,000 Palestinian deaths are, and he's an expert in this field. We met with Ron Dermer, who is the Minister of Strategic Affairs, but he's really Netanyahu's right-hand person. And we also met with Brigadier General Yaakov Amador, also with the IDF. So that was quite a prepping. That night, Wednesday night, before we met, the 10 of us had a private dinner with the current ambassador to the United States from Israel, who is Ambassador Michael Herzog. At that private dinner, he stressed with us things that he would like us to relay to the White House. He pressed that Israel needs the military need now, that if Congress can't pass it, find a workaround to continue to send the military equipment. And keep this thought in mind for when I circle back from our meeting that we had with the White House. He stressed how much aid Israel is providing and delivering to the Palestinians and how committed they are and how extraordinary their efforts are. He spent a great deal of time on that. Thursday morning, we were initially granted 45 minutes, and in the end, the White House ended up giving us an hour and 45 minutes. The meeting ran longer. Multiple times, aides would come in and whisper something to the people we were meeting with, and they shoot them off. They were engaged. It was very engaging. Who did we meet with? We met with the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, who was the single most important person in the room. We met with an Assistant Chief of Staff for the White House, Chief of Staff Jeff Zaint. We met with one of his senior people. We met with Admiral Kirby was in the room. You've all seen him on TV. John Kirby, he's a very, very charismatic guy. He's actually a lot of fun. I've met with him. I've been to Capitol Hill 3 times now since October 7th to be on the Hill, and every time we've met with Kirby. And we also met with the senior liaison to the Jewish community. I didn't know we had one, but we got one. How did we pick the 10? Because there were, as word slowly slipped out, we must have had upwards of 70 people suggest they had to be in the room. How did we pick them? We wanted to make sure we had, first of all, this was JF&A, so it was going to be the current CEO of JF&A, the president of JF&A, and the 2 people that are most involved in the political arena for JF&A, myself and Andy Hochberg from Chicago. We then felt it was important that we had someone representing the major cities where Federation or Jewish community are. So we had someone from New York, someone from LA, someone from Chicago. We had 2 people from Florida there. So that was roughly how we decided the 10. We couldn't have everybody, but it was. And we planned ahead of time because we knew what we could talk about and what we couldn't talk about, who would do what. When we got into the room, JF&A went first. We made 4 points. First, we thanked the White House for everything they've done. Let's not forget that. From the response of President Biden's speech 3 days later, and I heard this over and over in Israel, it was the most seminal speech a president had given at a time of crisis for Israel. Now, of course, the concern was what has slipped since then, but we thanked the president. We then talked about the need for continued support both militarily and to continue to send, without condition, the weapons that Israel needs to prosecute this war. We then talked about supporting legislative initiatives, the $14.3 billion. But it wasn't just about Israel we were there. We were there about anti-Semitism. To support something you may not have heard of, it's the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act that is slowly making its way through the House and the Senate, picking up momentum, that if it does get to the president's desk, that they sign it. And the importance about that is it will use the IRA definition, which is the international definition for anti-Semitism. So never again will we hear a university president, a governor, a mayor ever say, it depends on what was said or what was done, whether that's anti-Semitic. So it would give a definition. So we talked about that bill. And we also talked about the negative effects the White House recent public pivot away from Israel is having on increase in anti-Semitism, and we gave concrete examples. The White House then responded, mostly by the National Security Advisor and by the Assistant Chief of Staff. What they did make clear, and we do believe, there is no daylight. Despite the public rhetoric, there is no daylight between the United States and Israel. There's a lot of daylight between Biden and Netanyahu, but there is no daylight. They were, before we could get to it, they were very clear. They're going to support Israel going into Rafah and finishing off Hamas. They absolutely feel it's in Israel's best interest and the United States' best interest that Hamas be finished. So they will do that. I'll come back to why there's a difference in public rhetoric. So we talked about no difference. We also found out of the $14.3 billion additional military funding that keeps getting batted around politically in the House and in the Senate, 40% of the military weapons in that bill, the White House has already sent. They have found workarounds, and it's starting to come out now. Several members of Congress are starting to squeal about the fact that the White House is sending this without authorization, but they are doing it, and they're sending the weapons with no conditions. We also talked about, they're very clear, as Americans, this is important. As soon as October 7th happened, the United States moved 2 carrier groups into the Mediterranean. One was supposed to be going home, was on its way home, had 2 weeks left in their tour of duty, and they kept them in the Mediterranean. And that's and if anybody knows what a carrier group is, that's an aircraft carrier, but 30 to 35 other ships, let alone no one knows how many submarines. And what I learned along the way, our most lethal weapon are our nuclear submarines. And what makes them so lethal is what they carry, and no one knows where they are. So by signaling the aircraft carrier groups in there, the United States chose to signal that they were going to have submarines in the Mediterranean, which is a highly unusual move for the United States to make. They've already brought one home because they were well past their time for leave. And I guess if you've ever spent 6 months on a ship, I guess you're entitled to come home. But the other group will stay and has stayed, and they feel that has been the most instrumental in keeping Iran and Hezbollah at bay. And the White House pledged to keep the carrier group there, and when their tour is over, to send another one in. And that's putting Americans in potential harm's way. The White House emphasized their frustration with Bibi. Biden and Bibi, it's oil and water. You could say up, say down. They argue about everything, and that's just picking a nerve. And it became very apparent that our president has made this very personal. There's strong belief that IDF is doing an amazing job limiting collateral damage despite what is said. And they feel that to keep telling part of our Americans that Israel has to do more, they honestly believe at no time has any military, in fact, the statistics are better than what the U.S. did when we went into Iraq or Afghanistan and Mosul and certain places like that. So privately, they're very supportive of what the IDF has done. Right before it happened was the day, 2 days before we came, was the UN vote where there should be an immediate ceasefire, and for the first time, the United States abstained instead of vetoing it, and Netanyahu didn't send his delegation. 2 things. One, they clearly had told Netanyahu that this is something they needed the the United States needed to do, reminded him that it was only in effect to the end of Ramadan, which was another 9 days. It was contingent upon Hamas first releasing the hostages, and no one believed that Hamas was going to accept it. So just basically said to Netanyahu, just swallow it and live with it. Instead, Netanyahu immediately recalled his delegation that was coming over, and this only upset the president even more. Again, it's personal. That said, instead of meeting in person, they just met over Zoom or secured Zoom, however they do it. The meetings were held. The generals actually did come over. The political people just continued to meet to work on a plan on how to go into Rafah. So despite what was said by both sides, the meeting actually did continue. Then the one big issue. Remember how I told you that Ambassador Herzog just kept telling us how great Israel, what a great job Israel is doing on humanitarian aid? This is the only time that National Security Advisor Sullivan got animated in the movie, in the meeting. The United States adamantly feels that that Israel is talking a big game, but actually not delivering humanitarian aid at the level they need to do. Now, they understand Netanyahu's coalition that he's barely hanging on to has two parties led by Ben-Gvir and Smoldrich, who those parties want no humanitarian aid going to the Palestinians till the hostages are returned. So Netanyahu is talking out of both sides of his mouth, and they were in the meeting, they were prepared for us. They showed us quite a bit of evidence where Israel is pretending to take trucks to the border crossing, but not letting them in. And this was shocking because we had heard in our prep from the Israelis, we had heard in our prep from the ambassador, and this was 180 degrees, and like our jaws were dropping at the disconnect between the two. I'm going to come back to the importance of that. But that was the most important thing they wanted to make to us. We subsequently, after we went and they opened it up for discussion, for back and forth. And we had set up ahead of time who was going to talk about what subject and what area. The person from New York and Miami spoke about the military. And whether it was coincidence or not, what the generals had asked us to press and what the ambassador asked us to press was the release of the United States of the F-35, 25 F-35 planes and several thousand 2,000-pound bombs. Our meeting was on Thursday, whether coincidence or by us. Friday morning, the White House announced the release of those two weapons. So maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, I don't know. Can't take public credit for it, and I certainly can't take a commission for it, but maybe we made a difference. For those who know me, and there's a few in this room who know me very well, I was drafted to break the rules of what we could talk about because I'm very direct. Stop it, Tara. I'm very direct, and I really don't care. As long as Bobby Shostak still likes me, that's all I care about. I'm very direct and really don't care, because what's the sense of having this meeting that hadn't been had for 3.5 years with the White House if we don't say what we wanted to talk about? What were they going to do, not invite me back for another 3.5 years? Or in my case, another 64 years? Okay. So we were told, do not talk about what the president says. Don't talk about his comments, how he comments, whether from the White House or when he's out doing re-election. I did. I brought it up, and I was trying to be very gentle, and at that point, the National Security Advisor, Sullivan, looked right at me. He said, feel free to speak openly. That was his mistake. So we went on and talked about very directly, we were prepared, with the assistance of others, how In this room, they're talking about no light in between the two countries and how much they're supporting. But out there, whether it's the campaign or the president himself, every time he makes a comment, it is increasing anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, and anti-Zionism. He said, give us an example. We gave him examples. How would you fix it? The fix lasted 3 days, and then unfortunately the tragic death of the aid workers. But they did change the rhetoric. The White House changed the rhetoric for a few days, and Kirby has now changed his rhetoric anytime he's at the pulpit. Not sure they call it pulpit, but you know what I mean. We said, all you have to do when the protesters come up or a reporter come up to you and says, and push you on it, start with, let's recall how this started. On October 7th, Hamas and the Palestinians broke the peace with murder, with rape, with torture, with hostage taking, with whatever you want to say. Remind them that the collateral damage to humans and Palestinians is because Hamas hides behind their citizens, fights from hospitals, from schools, from UN property, and then say, but we want Israel to do more because they can do more and we want them to continue to try and be better at it. That's okay. But you have to start with that. So later that evening, Biden was at that huge fundraiser in New York, the three presidents, and they were interrupted by protesters, and he started with that. In fact, that was the only time that everybody has AIDS in that room. I mean, they came in like an army. Each of these people have 2 or 3 aides that come in with them. They're all taking notes. They're all doing whatever they do. They keep handing them paper. The only time the National Security Advisor wrote anything down was when I was talking about the rhetoric has to change because it has a direct effect on increased anti-Semitism. And he wrote it down and he said, we will talk to the president specifically to try and get him to change his comments. Then we turned the conversation over to, and they pushed, remember, these are policy wonks. They're not on the political side, but the reality is that we are in a political season. Biden is behind in multiple states. And he's saying different things than he is saying out of the White House. And they're trying to say, well, that's the politician side. We can't control that. And that's when we call bullshit. That's not fair. That's not fair. And we had, it wasn't heated at all, but an exchange back and forth with the chief, the number 2, the assistant chief of staff, that nobody discerns from a political speech or when it's out on the stump and when it's coming from the White House. If Biden says it and releases it because he's trying to get elected and he's pandering to the Muslim community, that's still going to increase anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, anti-Israel, and it's not fair. So we had a discussion on that. We didn't come to a conclusion, but they understood the point we were making. They wanted to send us back with a message. The message was, Bibi's a problem. He said, like, it's interesting, you point a finger. You know, Biden isn't speaking out of 2 sides of his mouth, which he is, but Bibi's speaking out of 2 sides of his mouth. And that's why they would like to see a change. We did remind them that Bibi's just the prime minister. It's the Israeli people you have to defend and to try and calm the rhetoric between the 2 countries. Then they said that this was the first of several conversations. Yeah, I heard that before, one of the great lies. This afternoon at around 4:15, JF&A got a request from the White House for us to get on a call at 5 o'clock today. And they wanted to update us on what has happened since the tragic bombing of the aid workers. They want to let us know that despite that, tomorrow they will be sending additional weapons to Israel. Despite what Biden has said publicly, they are within a day or two of blessing a plan for the IDF to go into Rafah and how the IDF wants to do it, and that they want us to know that they are full support of Israel, just they can't help the rhetoric on the political side. And that was my 2 hours with the White House and plus 20 minutes this afternoon. All right? Shabbat Shalom. Let's eat.
Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach. Thank you, everyone.